Yes, according to the title. In this video I will discuss a topic that has always been controversial from the past until now. Here, you and all of us will reveal. Actually, what is a psychopath? In the video I will explain 9 important points. That is, definition of psychopath, how a psychopath thinks, characteristics of a psychopath, things a psychopath likes, things a psychopath doesn't like, positive actions done by a psychopath, negative actions done by a psychopath, places a psychopath likes, places that psychopaths don't like, the reasons why someone becomes a psychopath, and finally the types of psychopaths. First of all, we start from A. Definition of psychopath. Psychopath is a term to describe someone who has a pattern of thinking, psychology, behavior and actions that is very different from most people. Psychopaths are people who do not have empathy within themselves. They are able to feel the feelings that other people feel. If another person is feeling happy, in pain, sad, angry or so on, a psychopath can feel that, but he doesn't care about the feelings that person is feeling. If these feelings do not benefit him, then he prefers to be indifferent. Psychopaths are also a type of person who is filled with falsehood. Most of what is in him is just a lie. His friendly attitude, kind attitude, polite attitude, and positive attitude that he displays are actually just fake. Of all the positive attitudes he displays, he definitely has certain intentions and goals. Of course, this will definitely benefit the psychopath, but will cause harm to other people. However, psychopaths will not feel regret, will not feel guilty about the false actions they have done to other people. From the brief explanation just now, we can conclude that psychopaths are very good at hiding their true faces, so that it is very difficult for other people to recognize the true identity of a psychopath. In the shadows, without being noticed or detected by those around them, psychopaths often create manipulative scenarios, such as taking advantage of circumstances, controlling or other people's behavior for personal gain. From this we understand that psychopathy is not always related to physical murder, but mental and mental murder. How does a psychopath think? B. How a psychopath thinks. The way a psychopath thinks is different from most people, especially in terms of how they view the world, other people, and themselves. Here are some typical characteristics of a psychopath's way of thinking. Egocentric. They tend to be very egocentric, thinking only of their own needs and desires. Other people are seen as a means to achieve their personal goals. Lack of empathy. Psychopaths generally do not feel empathy or sympathy for others. They are unmoved by other people's suffering and often view other people's emotions as weaknesses that they can exploit. Manipulative. Psychopaths are very good at manipulating others. They often use lies, deception, and other manipulative tactics to control or exploit others for their own gain. Lack of guilt or remorse. Psychopaths rarely feel guilt or remorse for their actions, even if those actions hurt others. They tend to rationalize their bad behavior and feel entitled to do whatever they want. View of life as a game. Many psychopaths view life as a game in which they must win, often without regard for the consequences or impact on others. They may view social interactions as something to be won, and other people as pawns in their game. Need for excitement. Psychopaths often become bored with daily routines and seek sensation or excitement in ways that can be risky or dangerous, both to themselves and others. Impulsivity. Psychopaths tend to act impulsively without considering long-term consequences. Their decisions are often based on current desires, without thinking about the impact in the future. Absence of emotional bonds. They usually do not have strong emotional bonds with others. The relationships they form are often superficial and focused on what they can get from the other person. A psychopath's thinking is very self-focused and tends not to pay attention to social norms or laws that regulate the behavior of society in general. Although psychopaths are very difficult to detect. Is there a way to recognize the characteristics of a psychopath? C. Characteristics of a psychopath. A psychopath typically exhibits a variety of traits that are complex and vary in intensity. The following are complete characteristics that are generally associated with psychopathy. 1. Not sympathetic to other people. He is not affected by the suffering or difficulties experienced by other people. 2. Lack of guilt or remorse. Does not feel guilty or regretful after carrying out actions that hurt others. Tends to blame other people or circumstances for their bad behavior. 3. Lies and manipulation. Very good at lying and often lies without shame. Uses manipulation to get what he wants, without caring about the impact on other people. 4. Superficial charm. Can appear very charming, friendly, and charismatic on the surface. This charm is often used to manipulate others or mask their true nature. 5. Egocentric and feeling superior. Has a very high view of himself and feels better than other people. Tends to focus on his own interests, without paying attention to the needs or desires of other people. 6. Impulsivity. Often makes spontaneous decisions without considering long-term consequences. These impulsive actions can include risky behavior, such as crime or violence. 7. Need for excitement and stimulation. Feeling bored quickly and constantly seeking new sensations or experiences, often through risky or dangerous actions. Tendency to engage in high-risk behavior just to feel the adrenaline rush. 8. Lack of responsibility. Avoids responsibility for their actions. Tends to blame others or external factors for their mistakes or failures. 9. Parasitic lifestyle. Relying on others to meet their needs, often by taking advantage or exploiting them. Having no motivation to work hard or be independent. 10. Behavior problems from a young age. Many psychopaths show signs of antisocial behavior from a young age, such as lying, stealing, or violence towards animals. These behaviors often escalate and become more serious as they get older. 11. Lack of emotional bonding. Difficulty or inability to form deep emotional connections with others. Their relationships tend to be shallow and based on what they can get from others. 12. Antisocial behavior. Often violates social and legal norms, engages in criminal acts or destructive behavior. Lack of respect for rules and laws. 13. Not being able to learn from experience. Although they may experience negative consequences from their actions, they often do not learn from the experience and continue to repeat the same behavior. 14. Lack of adjustment in society. Unable to adapt to social expectations and rules. Tends to reject social norms and operates outside accepted boundaries. These traits can vary in intensity from one individual to another, and not everyone with some of these traits can be categorized as a psychopath. Only a trained mental health professional can make a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder or psychopathy. Does a psychopath have special things he likes? Of course there is, and let's discuss it. D. Things psychopaths like. Psychopaths tend to have different interests or preferences than most people, often related to their need for control, power, and emotional stimulation. Here are some specific things that psychopaths tend to like. 1. Control and power. Psychopaths often enjoy the feeling of controlling others, both emotionally and physically. They like to be in a position where they can manipulate or control the behavior of others. Power and dominance over others gives them a sense of superiority and personal satisfaction. 2. Hobby of lying. Many psychopaths find pleasure in lying and manipulating others. It is not only a means to an end, but also a form of entertainment and satisfaction in itself. They enjoy mental games involving deception and often take pride in their ability to deceive others without getting caught. 3. Thrill and risk. Psychopaths often seek thrills through high-risk activities, such as criminal activity, gambling, or extreme sports. They enjoy the adrenaline rush and excitement that comes from dangerous or challenging situations, without considering the consequences. 4. Challenges to authority. Defying authority or society's rules often provides psychopaths with pleasure, as it gives them a sense of freedom and rebellion. They may enjoy breaking laws or rules just for the thrill of challenging the system. 5. Praise and recognition. Despite their indifference to others, psychopaths often enjoy praise and recognition that reinforces their sense of superiority. They may seek attention or admiration through far-fetched accomplishments or through superficial charm. 6. Exploitation. Psychopaths enjoy exploiting other people's weaknesses or vulnerabilities, whether for financial, emotional, or power gain. This exploitation gives them a feeling of control and the satisfaction of seeing others in a weaker position. 7. Shallow relationships. They may enjoy shallow, short-term relationships, where they can get what they want without commitment or emotional attachment. These relationships are often transactional, where the psychopath obtains certain benefits before moving on to the next target. 8. Delight in the suffering of others. Some psychopaths may derive pleasure from the suffering of others, both emotional and physical. This can occur in the form of bullying, harassment, or violence. Often, they feel no guilt or remorse, and may even feel stronger or more powerful. 9. Pursue victory. Psychopaths are often obsessed with winning every situation, whether in the context of competition, arguments, or social interactions. They may pursue this victory without regard for the impact on others, because for them, winning is everything. 10. Appearance and outer impression. Psychopaths can be very concerned about appearance and how they are perceived by others, using charm and charisma to manipulate or control people. They may favor appearances that make them appear stronger, more attractive, or more authoritative. This preference reflects the psychopath's need for power, control, and satisfaction without regard for other people or the consequences of their actions. However, not all psychopaths show the same interests, as each individual can have variations in their preferences and behavior. Apart from things that psychopaths like, I will also share things that psychopaths don't like. Things psychopaths don't like. Psychopaths, with their unique nature and way of thinking, tend to dislike or even hate certain things that conflict with their needs or desires. Here are some things that psychopaths usually don't like. 1. Limitations or restrictions. Psychopaths do not like to be restricted by rules, laws, or authority. They tend to feel depressed or angry when they feel controlled or watched. They often reject authority and rules that they perceive as hindering their freedom or ability to do what they want. 2. Weakness or vulnerability. Psychopaths dislike signs of weakness or vulnerability, either in themselves or in others. They tend to view weakness as something embarrassing or disgusting. Showing vulnerability, such as expressing deep emotions, may be seen as unacceptable. 3. Criticism or rejection. Psychopaths do not like being criticized or rejected, as this undermines their image of superiority and control. They tend to respond to criticism with anger, manipulation, or revenge, rather than introspection or behavioral change. 4. Long-term commitment. They often dislike long-term commitment, especially in personal relationships, because it demands responsibility, emotional involvement, and loyalty. Commitment is seen as a burden that inhibits their freedom and ability to move from one situation to another quickly. 5. Routine and boredom. Psychopaths usually don't like routines and monotonous situations. They tend to get bored easily and look for new experiences or sensations to stimulate themselves. They often avoid situations that require stability or patience. 6. Empathy or deep emotions. Psychopaths are often uncomfortable or dislike interactions that involve empathy or deep emotions because they tend not to feel those emotions themselves. Situations that require empathy or deep understanding of other people's feelings may be considered boring or irrelevant. 7. Failure or unsuccess. Psychopaths do not like experiencing failure, especially if this happens in front of other people. Failure is seen as damaging to the image of superiority and control they have built. They may respond to failure by blaming others or looking for ways to turn things around without admitting mistakes. 8. Inability to control the situation. Psychopaths really don't like being in situations where they can't control the outcome or behavior of others. Losing control is perceived as a threat to their ego. Situations in which they feel helpless or have no control often lead to frustration and anger. 9. Relationships that demand emotional closeness. They tend to avoid relationships that demand emotional closeness or deep involvement, as this conflicts with their shallow and manipulative nature. Relationships that demand honesty and openness may be perceived as an unwanted burden or risk. 10. Responsibility and accountability. Psychopaths don't like to take responsibility for their actions, especially if this means having to face negative consequences. They tend to avoid accountability by lying, shifting blame, or manipulating situations to avoid punishment or criticism. This dislike reflects the nature of psychopaths who focus on self-gratification, control, and rejection of anything that threatens their image or power. At this point, we know that psychopaths are truly terrible and harm other people. But psychopaths are also capable of doing positive deeds for other people. Even though the method he uses is unique and different. F. Positive actions committed by psychopaths. Although psychopaths are often associated with antisocial and manipulative behavior, there are situations in which they can engage in seemingly positive actions. However, it is important to remember that the motivation behind these actions is usually different from that of normal people. Some positive actions that psychopaths may commit include: 1. Acts of charity or generosity. Psychopaths may engage in charitable or philanthropic activities, but this is often done to enhance their self-image, gain social advantage, or manipulate others. These actions may be seen as a way to gain admiration or build a network that is useful to them. 2. Courage in dangerous situations. Psychopaths may act bravely in dangerous situations, such as saving someone or taking a big risk. This may be because they have a higher fear threshold or seek sensation. These actions can seem heroic, but are often driven by a desire for sensation or recognition. 3. Strong leadership. Many psychopaths are successful in leadership roles, especially in the worlds of business, military, or politics. They can make firm decisions and run organizations efficiently. They may appear to be strong and effective leaders, although their motivation is more often driven by a desire for power and control rather than concern for others. 4. Professional achievements. Psychopaths can be very ambitious and achieve high levels of success in their careers, often by exploiting their manipulative skills and charm. These achievements can make a positive contribution to an organization or society, although the motivation behind them is more often related to personal ambition. 5. Innovative problem solving. Because psychopaths tend to think unconventionally and are not constrained by social norms, they can sometimes come up with innovative or bold solutions to complex problems. They may solve problems in ways that others would not have thought of, which can lead to positive outcomes in certain situations. 6. Be friendly and pleasant. Psychopaths can be very charming and charismatic, making them appear friendly and pleasant in social interactions. They may treat others well if it benefits them. This may create positive relationships or help them achieve social goals, although the motivation behind this kindness is often manipulative. 7. Supporting others for personal gain. Psychopaths may provide support to someone, either emotionally, financially, or professionally, if they see an opportunity for future gain. These actions can seem very helpful and positive, but are often done with hidden intentions. 8. Take necessary actions to maintain order. In situations where they are in charge of a group or organization, psychopaths may take decisive action to maintain order or achieve certain goals. This can result in a more structured and efficient work environment or social situation. 9. Be professional and disciplined. Psychopaths can be very professional and disciplined, especially if this helps them achieve their career or personal goals. This discipline can produce good results in the work or projects they manage. 10. Motivate others. Because of their ability to read people and situations, psychopaths can be very effective in motivating or influencing others to achieve certain goals. Even though their motivation may not be sincere, the results can be positive for the team or project involved. While these positive actions can have a real and useful impact, it is important to understand that the motivation behind these actions is often selfish or manipulative. Psychopaths usually do not act with genuine intentions for the good of others, but rather for their own personal gain. That's right, just now was a positive action that was considered unique, wasn't it? Now let's move on to actions that are considered negative. Negative actions committed by psychopaths. 1. Control the situation from behind the scenes. Psychopaths often use manipulation to control other people or situations for personal gain. They may lie, cheat, or manipulate other people's emotions without feeling guilty. This deception can take many forms, such as lies, false promises, or playing with other people's feelings. 2. Exploitation of others. They tend to exploit other people's weaknesses or vulnerabilities to achieve their goals, often without thinking about the consequences. This exploitation can take the form of taking advantage of people emotionally, financially, or even physically. 3. Lack of empathy and violence. Psychopaths lack empathy for the suffering of others, and this can lead them to act cruelly or brutally without feeling guilty. Violence, both physical and emotional, is often perpetrated by psychopaths, especially if they feel the need to maintain control or get what they want. 4. Criminal behavior. Many psychopaths engage in criminal acts such as theft, fraud, assault, or even murder. This criminal behavior is often driven by a desire for power, wealth, or simply thrill. 5. Lack of responsibility. Psychopaths often avoid responsibility for their actions. They may blame other people or circumstances for their mistakes and be unwilling to admit their own mistakes. They tend not to care about the consequences of their actions on others. 6. Betrayal and disloyalty. Psychopaths may be unfaithful in personal or professional relationships, often betraying or abandoning others when it no longer benefits them. This disloyalty can come in the form of infidelity, breach of trust, or damaging someone's reputation for personal gain. 7. Ignoring social and legal norms. They often violate social norms and laws because they feel that the rules do not apply to them or that they are above the law. Psychopaths tend to see themselves as superior and not bound by the rules that govern others. 8. Playing with people's feelings. Psychopaths often play with other people's feelings to achieve their goals, without caring about the emotional effects caused. They may pretend to care or be emotionally involved just to gain trust or manipulate the situation. 9. Destroying relationships. Psychopaths often cause damage to interpersonal relationships, whether in families, friendships, or the workplace. They may sow discord, instigate conflict, or damage other people's relationships for personal gain. 10. Taking destructive risks. Psychopaths often engage in high-risk behavior, which harms not only themselves but also others around them. These risks can take the form of gambling, criminal activity, or destructive impulsive decisions. 11. Using other people as tools. Other people are often treated as tools or objects by psychopaths, valued only to the extent that they can be used to achieve certain goals. Once no longer useful, psychopaths may leave or destroy relationships without a second thought. 12. Blackmail and intimidation. Psychopaths may use blackmail or intimidation tactics to get what they want, whether through physical, emotional, or financial threats. This intimidation can be carried out directly or subtly through psychological manipulation. 13. Behavior that causes trauma to others. Psychopaths' actions often cause emotional or psychological trauma in others, especially those with whom they are in close relationships. This trauma can last a long time and have a negative impact on the lives of the people who are victims. Apart from the things I have said so far, I will also share information about places that a psychopath likes. H. Places that psychopaths like. Their choices are often influenced by the need for stimulation, control, and power. Here are some types of places that psychopaths tend to like. 1. Competitive social environment. Example: the world of business, politics, or the financial industry. Psychopaths are often attracted to environments where they can compete for power and influence. These places give them opportunities to manipulate others, rise to the top, and enjoy victory over competitors. 2. Places that provide access to power or authority. Examples: military, law enforcement agencies, or government positions. Psychopaths may seek positions in these places to gain authority and control over others. The power conferred by these roles allows them to influence or dominate individuals and groups. 3. Vulnerable and easily exploitable environment. Examples: hospitals, nursing homes, or charitable organizations. Psychopaths may be drawn to places where they can exploit vulnerable people, such as patients, the elderly, or those in need of help. These places allow them to manipulate situations for personal gain. 4. Glamorous or prestigious social environment. Examples: the world of entertainment, high society events, or the fashion industry. Psychopaths may be attracted to environments that provide access to social recognition, praise, or high status. These places allow them to build an attractive image and take advantage of others being charmed by their charm. 5. Places of entertainment and sensation. Examples: nightclubs, casinos, or extreme sports events. Seeking thrills and excitement, psychopaths may be drawn to places that offer stimulating experiences, such as gambling, parties, or high-risk activities. 6. Poorly supervised or high-risk environment. Examples: low surveillance places such as slums, black markets, or criminal areas. Psychopaths may feel comfortable in places where they can act without close supervision, exploiting illegal or high-risk situations for personal gain. 7. Work environment that supports antisocial behavior. Examples: corporations with aggressive work cultures, industries where unhealthy competition is encouraged, or environments that are tolerant of questionable work ethics. Psychopaths may favor places where antisocial behavior such as deception, manipulation, or exploitation is considered a means to success. 8. Places with access to personal or confidential information. Examples: information technology companies, intelligence fields, or positions involving the collection of personal data. Psychopaths may be drawn to places where they can access and exploit other people's personal information, whether for manipulation, blackmail, or other gain. 9. A place that gives a sense of superiority. Examples: elite educational institutions, exclusive communities, or places that promote social hierarchy. They may seek an environment where they can feel superior, whether intellectually, socially, or economically, and where they can control or dominate others. 10. An environment that makes them look good. Examples: churches, charitable organizations, or social groups with high moral goals. Psychopaths may be drawn to these places to build a positive image, gain the trust of others, or hide their manipulative intentions behind a facade of kindness. These venues allow psychopaths to utilize their manipulative skills, maximize control, and seek satisfaction from stimulating or rewarding experiences. However, their preferences are often driven by a desire to dominate or exploit situations and other people, rather than seeking genuine relationships or experiences. Places that psychopaths don't like. Psychopaths tend to avoid places that conflict with their need to control, dominate, and manipulate. They are uncomfortable in environments that limit their freedom, demand empathy, or place them in a vulnerable position. Here are some types of places that psychopaths usually don't like. 1. A place that requires empathy and emotional engagement. Examples: family counseling, group therapy, or a place of worship that emphasizes compassion and care. Psychopaths tend to be uncomfortable in places that require empathy, understanding, or genuine emotional involvement, because they often lack the ability to feel emotions deeply or care about others. 2. Strictly controlled environment. Examples: prisons, rehabilitation institutions, or military schools with very strict rules. Psychopaths don't like being controlled or closely monitored, so places that limit their freedom and enforce strict rules often make them feel depressed or angry. 3. Places with monotonous routines. Examples: boring office work, a highly structured environment without much variety, or work that is not challenging. Psychopaths tend to get bored easily and need constant stimulation. They don't like places that involve monotonous routines or jobs that provide no thrill or challenge. 4. An environment that demands high levels of honesty and integrity. Examples: a highly ethical institution, a workplace with a strong culture of honesty, or a court of law. Psychopaths often avoid places where honesty, integrity, and transparency are highly valued, as their manipulative and dishonest behavior can quickly be exposed. 5. An environment that demands long-term commitment. Examples: marriage, a job with a long-term contract, or a project that requires years of dedication. Psychopaths do not like to be tied down in long-term commitments, as this can limit their freedom to move or seek new, more profitable opportunities. 6. Places that limit access to power or control. Examples: work positions with limited authority, egalitarian teamwork environments, or situations where they cannot control others. They don't like being in places where they can't control the situation or other people. Psychopaths often feel frustrated when they have no power or influence. 7. An environment that has strict supervision and high accountability. Examples: jobs that require strict audits, directly supervised environments, or roles that require full accountability. Psychopaths are uncomfortable with close supervision and high levels of accountability, as this can limit their ability to manipulate or exploit situations. 8. A place that emphasizes collectivity and cooperation. Examples: communal communities, non-profit organizations that emphasize teamwork, or work environments where collaboration is more important than competition. Psychopaths often prefer competition to cooperation. Places that emphasize collectivity and cooperation do not appeal to them because they are more interested in personal achievement than group goals. 9. A place that demands moral exemplarity. Examples: religious institutions, volunteer communities, or jobs where moral ethics are emphasized. Psychopaths may feel stressed or uncomfortable in places that demand strict moral behavior, as they are often uninterested in morality and more focused on personal gain. 10. Places that do not provide opportunities for manipulation. Examples: environments where transparency is very high, groups that have a high level of awareness of manipulation, or communities with strict social monitoring. Psychopaths dislike places where they cannot manipulate other people or situations for personal gain, as this takes away one of their main means of achieving their goals. In general, psychopaths tend to avoid places that reduce their ability to control others, places that demand empathy and honesty, and environments that limit freedom or offer little stimulation. They prefer to be in an environment that gives them the freedom to act as they wish without strict restrictions. Why can psychopaths be like this? What makes him have this mindset? Why? What's the reason? J. Causes of someone becoming a psychopath. The causes of a person becoming a psychopath generally involve complex interactions between genetic, developmental, and environmental factors. While there is no one definitive cause, some factors that have been identified in research include: 1. Hereditary genetic and biological factors. Research shows that there is a genetic component to psychopathy. Individuals with a family history of antisocial or psychopathic personality disorders may be at higher risk. Brain structure. Neuroimaging studies show that psychopaths often have structural and functional differences in the brain, especially in areas related to emotional control, empathy, and impulsive behavior. Neurochemical function. Differences in neurotransmitters, such as serotonin and dopamine, may play a role in regulating the behaviors and emotions associated with psychopathy. 2. Birth and childhood development factors. Early life experiences, such as a difficult birth, prenatal trauma, or nutritional deficiencies, can influence brain development and behavioral tendencies. Trauma and abandonment. Childhood experiences involving trauma, abuse, or emotional neglect can affect psychological and emotional development. However, not everyone who experiences trauma or neglect develops into a psychopath. 3. Environmental and social factors. Parenting and family environment. Families with harsh, inconsistent, or permissive parenting patterns, as well as environments of violence or emotional turmoil, can contribute to the development of psychopathy. A lack of positive role models and inadequate reinforcement also potentially contribute. Social experiences. Negative social experiences, such as violence or neglect, can exacerbate the risk of psychopathy, especially if accompanied by emotional neglect or instability in the social environment. 4. Psychological factors. Temperamental tendencies. Some individuals may have a temperament that shows early signs of psychopathy, such as extreme impulsivity or difficulty in forming emotional relationships. Social and cognitive skills. Psychopaths often have good social skills and manipulative abilities, which can help them in forming antisocial behavior and gaining advantage from social situations. 5. Ecological and social factors. Social and economic environment. Factors such as poverty, social instability, and lack of access to education or social support may contribute to the risk of psychopathy, especially when combined with individual or family factors. 6. Mental illness and disorders. Mental health disorders. Psychopaths often have coexisting mental disorders, such as other personality disorders or mood disorders. However, this disorder does not directly cause psychopathy but can contribute to behavioral patterns. 7. Evolutionary factors. Evolutionary adaptation. Some theories argue that psychopathy may have an adaptive component that can be understood in an evolutionary context, where individuals with psychopathic traits may have an advantage in certain competitive or social situations. 8. Socialization process. Social norms and values. Lack of effective socialization or exposure to deviant social norms can influence the development of psychopathy, especially if the individual has not learned norms of empathy and social responsibility. Psychopathy is the result of a combination of factors, and there is no single cause that explains why someone becomes a psychopath. These factors often interact with each other and influence individual development.